Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? So this should come as no surprise whatsoever. As a matter of fact, this was very, very much expected, but now we kind of have some clarity. Ryan Ramczyk, according to Over the Cap, who broke this first, has agreed to restructure his contract, which effectively paves the way for his retirement. And this probably should come as no surprise. Hat tip to Nick Underhill, who was off the bench with Hester and T-Bob. This was on May the 6th, and we've played this audio for you many times since Nick said it. Remember, this was May. This was before this current. This was this past May. And you could shrug your shoulders and say, no big deal. It feels like that's obvious now. But at the time, it wasn't. But Nick said it back in May.
I just don't see him playing again. I just, like, if I had to bet today, you're asking me to go to draft to place a bet on it. Like, I'm betting on him not playing.
I mean, you heard T-Bob's reaction. That wasn't like that was a universal thought. But Nick was the first to say it back in May, and hat tip to him. And even before then, Dennis Allen kind of let us know in March. I believe this was the owners' meetings. It was the owners' meeting in March. And remember, Ramczyk had missed time. He had the knee injury. And this was the update DA gave in March.
I think it still remains to be seen. You know what I mean? At the Combine a few weeks ago, I was feeling a lot better about it. And yet I don't know that I'm seeing as much progress as I was hoping to see, at this point. So I think that still kind of remains to be seen. But here's the cool thing. We got plenty of time.
That was in March. The cool thing was you had plenty of time. A couple months later is when Nick made his comment that he didn't think Ramczyk played again. In June, here was Dennis Allen.
What kind of timeline do you have at this point as far as
We don't have a timeline.
No timeline in June. He's asked in July. This was the end of July during training camp.
So what about, but still working towards maybe playing again?
Yeah, I think we're going to leave all options open. I don't think anything past this season is off the table.
So clearly one of the things past this season was Ramczyk retiring, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. So to break this down for you, and I don't want to bore you with numbers, but effectively, Ryan Ramczyk, when he signed his extension back in June of 2021, signed an extension that paid him $19.2 million per season. He was the only right tackle at the time paid close to what a left tackle makes. He was the highest paid right tackle in football. Well, he spends all of last season on the PUP list, and many expected he would retire. But here's what they've done. His base this year was $18 million. They've reduced it to the minimum of $1.255 million. So that saves the Saints $16.7 million in cap space this year. Now, the money, that $23 million, is still due. If he were on the roster, he'd have to carry a $29 million cap number. So they've saved a ton of money here. So he'll carry a $12.3 million cap number this year. Again, I know I'm throwing out a lot of numbers. Just understand the Saints this year, by doing this, have brought Ramczyk's number from 29 down to 12.3. So they're saving nearly $17 million. But the difference still has to be made up. And so they'll do that over the next two seasons. So he'll carry an $11.083 million number in 2025, and then an $11.9 million number in 2026. So Ryan Ramczyk is still going to count on the Saints' books for the next two seasons. It's just going to be at a much more palatable rate, and it helps the Saints get closer to cap compliance right now. According to Over the Cap, the Saints, with this work done, are still approximately $50 million over the salary cap for 2025. And there's a variety of moves that they'll make. We know as the Saints go through their annual exercise of restructuring deals, but they're going to have to do that again to get within cap compliance. But here's hoping what we'll see is the Saints commit to younger, more inexpensive players while some of these expensive veteran contracts expire. So there's a couple of ways to look at this. There's Ramczyk's career in total, And then there's what do you do moving forward? Ramczyk played 7 seasons, and he's a 3-time All-Pro. You look at Ryan Ramczyk, and it is really impressive how mostly durable he was until these injuries at the end, the knee injury at the end caught up to him. As a rookie, started all 16 games. And if you remember when they drafted Ryan Ramczyk, that was part of the Brandon Cooks trade. They traded Brandon Cooks. They got the Patriots' first-round pick, which was number 32 overall. They picked Ramczyk. Some bald radio guy told you how dumb it was when you had a right tackle in Zach Strief, why you would spend a first-round pick on a right tackle when you had all different types of needs. Well, in that camp, Zach Strief got injured, missed the season. His career was over, and Ryan Ramczyk started from game one and became your franchise right tackle. A great lesson to say, if there's a great player, great value on the board, you take him. But Ramczyk played and started every game as a rookie, started 15 games in 2018. They rested everybody the final week that year. If you remember, that was the Nola no-call year. Started every game in 2019, started every game in 2020, the COVID year. And then he had the injury in 2021, which cost him 6 games, started every game in 2022, and then the knee injuries cost him in 2023, where he played just 12 games, and then his season was over, or his career was over. So, we're going to look at Ryan Ramczyk as a guy that played 7 years, 3 of his 7 years in the NFL. He was an All-Pro. He was very much on his way to a Hall of Fame caliber career, but he's going to be one of those guys that we look back and say, what could have been? A 7-year career that could have and maybe should have been much, much more. But it gives you great appreciation for a guy like, say, Andrew Whitworth, doesn't it? Andrew Whitworth played 16 NFL seasons at left tackle, and in 12 of the 16, he played in every game. There's only 4 seasons where he didn't play a full season. I mean, it's remarkable to be that durable at a position like that for that long when you have a guy like Ramczyk who, after 7 years, his body broke down. So we'll have plenty of time to think about and talk about Ryan Ramczyk and his contributions to the Saints. He'll no doubt be a Saints Hall of Famer. He will undoubtedly fall short of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, having played only 7 seasons, when he appeared at one point very clearly on that path. But now you look forward for the New Orleans Saints. And the answer is very likely Trevor Penning. And this was one of those years where we looked at Trevor Penning starting at right tackle and wondered, could he maintain that spot? Could he prove to be a starting caliber player in the NFL? And I think, if nothing else, what Trevor Penning showed us this year is that while he may not ever be an elite starting player in the NFL, he at least proved that he can be a starting player in the NFL. Similar to Cesar Ruiz, but that's the problem you have, is when you got 2 first-round picks on the right side of your line that are former first-round draft picks that are starters, that are really low-level starters. You invested tremendous draft capital in those guys when you did get starters, but you didn't get great players. So that is an undeniable downgrade from Ryan Ramczyk to Trevor Penning. This year, Trevor Penning's offensive grade was a 60. His pass block grade was a 51. His run block grade was a 70. So much better run blocker than pass blocker, as we anticipated, as we knew sort of coming out of school. He was completely incapable of pass blocking as a left tackle. Moved him to the right side this year, gave him some help, and he was better. He did commit 13 penalties. There were 2 that were negated or offsetting, so really 15 times he was flagged this year in 18 games. So, I mean, he was flagged almost every game, but if there is one thing that I think is worth pointing out about Trevor Penning that is a positive, he started every game this season at right tackle. He played 1,081 snaps. You're talking about replacing a right tackle who durability cost him his career. Here you have a guy in Trevor Penning who was injured as a rookie. As a second-year player, was just incapable. But here in his 3rd year, he did become a starter for you. And played and started every game for you. And in a year where every position on your offensive line got gutted due to injury, the spot where you were durable the entire season was right tackle with Trevor Penning. So what's the old adage? The best ability is availability. Well, he was available for you this year. How much better can he get in that role as he gets more seasoned? That'll be the big question for New Orleans. And they'll need an answer, as Ryan Ramczyk, now we know, will retire after just 7 seasons in the NFL. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.